Perfect.
Hello and welcome back to the Beerly Out of Bounds podcast, the Beerly show where we bring you all things golf. We talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. Joining me as always is one ugly man himself. It is Zane Smith.
The most debonair barely host.
Barely?
Barely. Just barely.
And what are you drinking tonight, Zane?
I am drinking, you know it, the best in golf.
No, that's just not true. It's
Ain't
not
no
as
law.
good as a long drink, and it's not as good as a high noon.
Ain't no laws when you're drinking them White Claws, boy.
It's just a wild opinion to have. I'm drinking something way better.
Go ahead, shoot me.
Scotch.
Shoot me.
Glenfiddich 15. Aged in bourbon barrels. Delicious.
Yeah, Scotch is not good, dude.
Scotch is delicious, dude.
No, whiskey's all right. Whiskey's all right. Rum's the best. Rum's the best liquor.
That was good.
Bar none.
Scotch is whiskey, Zane. I hate to break this to you. I know you didn't know that.
It doesn't taste the same, though. And you know that as well as anybody.
It doesn't. It tastes better.
No, it doesn't.
Good Scotch tastes better.
Are you drinking it neat or on the rocks? Please say at least on the rocks.
Neat, baby.
Oh, my God. You're evil. Do you at least put, like actual whiskey drinkers, do you actually put some water in there? It's got to be equal parts whiskey, equal parts water.
No,
You
that's
just
bullshit.
drink that crap neat?
Yeah, it's good, dude.
That's
The
horrible.
reason I'm drinking whiskey instead of beer tonight is because I got a little bit of a sinus thing going on, some drainage issues. Really
that makes a lot
smoothing
more
it out.
sense.
Really
So
smoothing
you're not
it out.
totally insane.
No, I am a little sick boy. But we got a lot to talk about tonight, Zane. We had a 54-hole no-cut exhibition match going on over in California.
By the way, Zach, can I say something real quick? You
Yeah,
look
absolutely.
better. You look better tonight. You look really good.
Thanks. It's because I almost parted my
You're
hair.
looking sharp. I like the way you dressed up. You got the golf polo on. I like it.
I just haven't changed from work, is all. I've just been
Oh, okay. That's even better. Just never change from work whenever you get onto the pod.
change from work. I
Never
need to
change
figure out
from
this
work
collar
ever again.
situation.
Never ever again.
There we go.
That's fine. Little curly Q on the collar never hurt nobody.
But 54-hole exhibition match going on in California at Pebble Beach. Oh wait, this was a PGA Tour event. Sorry.
And one down in Mayakoba.
Yeah.
Two exhibition matches.
There's two exhibition matches going on, except one was actually scheduled for 54 holes. So the winner actually won the tournament. Unfortunately, because of the way the world works, they are not going to get any OWGR points. But we're going to first talk about Wyndham Clark and his win at this 54-hole no-cut exhibition tournament out in California. Zane, what do you have to say on it?
Well, so I don't know really what to say on it. I mean, I was looking forward to watching the final day. I think just like everybody was. That's when that's typically when I turn on golf. I know I'm a filthy casual. I get it, but I like watching Sundays, especially when it's smaller events like the AT&T Pro-Am. It's not the U.S. Open, right? And I get it. Like sometimes I will flip it on, but I have to work on Thursday and Friday, and Saturday I am doing other things. I'm studying for the financial tests and stuff. So Sunday I was really looking forward to actually watching it. I was looking forward to having that on one screen, Live Golf Mayakoba on the other. And I was gonna, look at compare and contrast the broadcast specifically for this episode. Mm-hmm. Now I'll have to wait until I see the Waste Management, which is probably a little more comparable with the Live Golf atmosphere. But they cut it short. And typically what would happen, and I get you, I mean, we talked about this before the show. I understand that they have to cut it short because probably going to be rained out on Monday. But the deal is how are you going to call the tournament after 54 holes? How are you going to do that?
I don't know, man.
I don't know either. And especially awarding the same amount of OWGR points just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Doesn't make sense at all.
I mean, awarding any for a 54-hole no-cut exhibition match seems kind of silly.
Yeah, especially when you already said you wouldn't,
Yeah. But I don't care. First off, I don't care that it was 54 holes. Yeah. I care that it was a 72-hole event that got cut to 54 after the third round. Because guys trailing are like, well, I can go, and this is completely hypothetical, but I can totally imagine this happening. A guy on 17 or 18, they have the chance to play the aggressive shot or the safe shot. And it's like, well, maybe I just want to leave it up to Sunday. You know, I don't want to lose the tournament here in round 3. Let me just play safe, go par, and get to Sunday, and then maybe make a move.
Yep.
And they do that, then there's no final round. There's no final 18. So, if anything, Wyndham Clark's win this week is the most suspect win I have ever seen in the history of golf.
Absolutely.
Especially professional golf.
Yeah.
Because there's no way you just go, well, sorry, we're just going to, on the PGA Tour, I don't care what you have to do, you get that final round in.
Yeah.
Or you just say, you call the tournament, there are no winners, there's no OWGR points awarded, there's no money awarded, because there are probably guys that could have been played aggressive and might have gone birdie to take that tournament away from Wyndham Clark. And they didn't because they wanted to rely on a final round. But because you have canceled the final round and named Wyndham Clark the winner, now he gets a PGA Tour event with the biggest asterisk I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm serious. Go ahead and just in the history books, just cross out 2024 AT&T Pro-Am.
Yeah.
I'm serious. Just go ahead and cross it out. It didn't exist. Wyndham Clark is not a winner this year. I don't care what anyone says. He is not a winner this year.
So I'll give Wyndham Wyndham, let's give him some props at least. Okay. He did shoot 60 in round 3. He shot 60 in round 3. He shot 12 under in one day. So let's give him a little bit of props, right? But at the same time, you're exactly right. I totally agree with you. Dude. I totally agree with you. It's one of those things where it's like it's 3 rounds. That was supposed to be 4 rounds. You know what I mean? You can it's one of those things where I don't know how you award a winner. Like how do you do that? That just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
I would have much preferred.
So what do you do if someone happened to have? What do you do if someone happened to have tied him? Are they both winners?
Yeah. Yeah. That's what doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't make sense to me. Like I would prefer them to wait and finish on even if, because we talked about they can't finish on Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah. I don't care that you get one less day of practice at the other event that the other guys get. I don't care.
I don't care either.
The tournament's not over until 72 holes are finished. If that's the way you've set this tournament up, the tournament's not over until 72 holes are completed.
Correct. Either that or push it out to a day, push it out to a day or something. But and I get the weeks are filled. I get that. I do. But
maybe don't run 8,000 tournaments a year.
That's exactly right. This is that you run into a lot of problems, and we've gone over this several times as the PGA Tour. You run into serious issues when you have too many games. It's the same problem the NBA has. It's the same problem the MLB has.
Yeah.
The same problem. It's why their airtime is less valuable than that of say the NFL.
Yeah.
This is exactly why. There's a reason more eyes get drawn toward things like the Ryder Cup, because those are things that only happen every 2 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a reason why you look at baseball and nobody watches up until literally the World Series.
Well, you see that summer push where people start tuning in. When it gets close to okay, my team's on the bubble, I'll tune in. Unless you're a baseball fanatic, in which case you're tuned in all year long.
That's the exact same thing that happens with basketball, though. People tune in right after the All-Star game. That's when it starts to really ramp up.
You have the All-Star break, and then people tune in.
Yep. And that's a problem. That is a problem. And NBA did the wrong thing, in my opinion. They decided to do a mid-season tournament, which just, what are the stakes? Like, why even have a finals if you have a mid-season tournament? That's like the finals.
Well, I get the mid-season tournament a little bit more. And the only reason is, hold on, Zane, because again, you're putting stakes on something that in the end ultimately doesn't matter. Congratulations, LeBron, you won your Cupcake Award of the year. I don't know what to tell you. But you put stakes on games. You put stakes on games that people weren't going to watch if there weren't stakes involved.
Yeah.
And so you get people to tune in to watch this midseason tournament that ultimately it's invented stakes. It's kind of like the value of the dollar. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes.
You create stakes, you create value by calling it something like a midseason tournament.
Having a trophy. Yep.
Yep. You call it something like having a midseason tournament, put a trophy in there. Yeah. And that gets people to tune in where they otherwise wouldn't have. Because who is watching a January basketball game between the Lakers and the Pelicans?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely nobody. I'll tell you, absolutely nobody.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. I'd almost prefer them to do like just a tournament and not like have the award ceremony, all the pomp and frills, because that's exactly what happens in college. So college basketball teams, they go and play in these tournaments early in the season, right? Mm-hmm. They may play even in a tournament later, middle of the season. But then later in the season, they just have their conference tournament, right? And then they have their obviously the
March Madness.
So, or the NIT. So I get that. I do. The issue is what they tried to do with it, which is trying to make it bigger than it was, right?
Well, of course they're going to do that.
I know they are. But this is exact problem. It's the law of diminishing returns. I mean, it is one of the truisms of reality. And that is, if I have $20.
Yeah.
Right. And you have a sheep, or let's say you have a club, right? You have a golf club and you're selling and I have $20.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm willing to pay you that $20. Okay. Or I have these zany bucks, and I have 100 of these zany bucks. But to you, the zany bucks, 100 of them are worth the same as the $20. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem. Is as you offer more and more things, they become less and less valuable. Right? Yeah. The marginal return diminishes. And so that's the problem.
Yeah.
The problem is you have more games, you make less and less money off of each additional game.
Yeah.
You'll make more, but only marginally.
Anyway, back to golf.
This is golf. This is all sports. I mean,
I know it is all sports, but let's real quick go into Wyndham Clark's statements that he made following the event. I believe he was asked a question.
I share it?
Yeah, go ahead. I believe he was asked a question. This wasn't off the dome or anything.
Yeah. Do you want to read that tweet first? The first tweet I sent you, and then I'll go ahead and share this screen.
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
So after winning the shortened AT&T Pro-Am, Wyndham Clark was asked if he considered a move to Live Golf. And this is a quote: "I definitely met with Liv and went through those discussions. I wanted to see what they could bring to the table. I ultimately declined to go to Live because I felt like I still have a lot of things left in the tank on the PGA Tour. I wanted to chase records. I wanted to chase world ranking. My dream is to try to be one of the top players in the world, if not the top player. At least for this season, I am 100% set on the PGA Tour. And I want to try to get as high in the world as I possibly can." Wyndham says he talked to other players that helped him make his decision. I honestly gave huge hats off to Adam Scott, Patrick Cantlay, and Jordan Spieth because they've put so much effort, and Tiger Woods. They put so much effort into making sure that the PGA Tour is going to make the right moves to continue to try to be the best tour. And they also really gave me some great advice and some counsel to sway me in a certain way, but I definitely wanted their counsel, and I just wanted to honor them and the amount of time and work and effort they have put into this agreement now with SSG and where the tour is going.
Yeah. So then we'll talk about it in a second, but let's share this, okay? You ready?
I just ultimately thought about it with my team and asked a lot of people, and I said, there's a lot of things I want to do in golf. I want to try to get to as high in the world as I possibly can. I want to continue to contend in majors and try to win majors and play at courses like Pebble Beach, these historic events that have been here forever. And so I ultimately did choose legacy, that hopefully I could put my name in the history books as one of the greats. And so it's something that, obviously that requires a lot of work on my end, and I have to play good golf, but I at least wanted that challenge. So I ultimately chose the tour and feel really happy with my decision.
Let's let it keep going.
Well, he said he chose legacy, Damon, which you could argue
I
he has,
what,
but there are also a couple of caveats in there. He said last night to the media that he was choosing it for now, at least, or for this year, at least. Where do you think he stands in this? Is this a common perception where all the players, including the very best, are waiting to see what happens? Because there are still so many unknowns, still so many moving parts in all of this.
Yeah, you get the sense, Eamon, that conversations, and the fact that conversations are happening and they're ongoing on many different levels, tour to tour, player to player, agent to player, agent to tour. It's just a fascinating time. And to me, the John Rahm decision broke the mold in a lot of ways. He was the one using terms like fealty.
Okay, I'm done with this clip, dude.
No, keep it going.
Really kind of dug into the history of the meaning of venues like Torrey Pines and TPC Scottsdale. He played here as an amateur and put on a Pat Tillman jersey. I mean, he was someone who was really kind of lapping up the history of the PGA Tour. And when he made the choice to go to LIV, that told me that anybody potentially could go. So I think Wyndham Clark, like a lot of players, is playing the waiting game. Am I going to go to a tour that?
So we'll continue here in a second. But first off, your thoughts, Zach.
I mean, listen. You know what? I'm sorry. I'm gonna say it. Wyndham Clark is the biggest. He's full of it. I'll tell you why he didn't go to LIV is because he didn't get the money he wanted.
100%. Can you take this off screen? Take this off screen for a second and just have us. Is that possible?
Yeah. So he didn't choose legacy. He said, I want this amount of money to go to LIV. Yes. And LIV was like, we're not going to give you that kind of money. You've won one big tournament in your entire career. We'll give you a lot of money, but not that much. And he was like, okay, well, then I'm staying on the PGA Tour. And they said, okay.
Yes. This is exactly what happened with Tony Finau, right? We went over that. This is exactly what happened with probably Xander, right? We went over that. Like, this is something that's gone on with all these guys. If the number was right for them, they would go. They would go to LIV in a heartbeat, right? And
the rumor, this is just a rumor, the rumor was he wanted $100 million guaranteed to go to LIV Golf. And the rumor is they offered him 50. He didn't choose legacy. He chose, I want more money or I'm walking. And they said, okay, you can walk. Because the thing we talked about, I think we talked about the last 2 weeks, is a lot of these guys that wanted to join late saw the money that a lot of the early guys got and wanted that same money.
That's exactly right.
And it's like, no, you're joining us when we're on the rise. You're not going to get the same amount of money. PIF is about to make a deal with the PGA Tour. It's about to be accepted anyway. You're taking much less of a risk than those guys did. You're worth much less to us now than you were a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Especially since Rahm said yes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Rahm made everybody else worth so much less.
Who's a
So
bigger
much
needle
less.
mover? Who's a bigger needle mover? A Wyndham Clark or Bryson DeChambeau? The answer is pretty obvious.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Brooks
And-
Koepka, Wyndham Clark.
Yeah.
Dustin Johnson, Wyndham Clark.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, Wyndham, this is my big problem with what he's saying in all of these statements, and the statement you read and the statement that he just made there, is he said he's chasing OWGR points and wants to get the highest ranking in the world. Well, I'm sorry, that's in name only. That's it.
Yeah.
There's no principle behind it. There's no value. There's no value behind half the players not even having OWGR points, and then you suddenly rising up. There's no value there.
Congratulations. Here's your trophy from Toys R Us. That's what it means.
That's exactly right. You got half of the best players in the world over on this other tour not getting those points, and you're just on this tour racking up those points. It's like there's no principle behind this.
No,
there's no
not at all.
Yeah, it's just it is. I wouldn't have a problem with that argument if the answer was majors. The problem with him saying majors there is that he already won the U.S. Open. Yeah. He will get invited to majors.
Yeah.
That is not even up for debate.
No.
That's not even up for debate. Now, if you want to say winning PGA Tour tournament records, so at this point, what difference does it make whether you win a live golf tournament or you win a PGA Tour event? It doesn't mean a difference. Mayakoba was just as big as the AT&T Pro-Am, if not bigger of a tournament than the AT&T Pro-Am. There were more eyes on it probably than the AT&T Pro-Am. One, because Golf Channel refuses to offer their crap for free and instead sells it out to ESPN Plus, so you have to pay to get behind a paywall to watch it, or Peacock to watch it. Whereas Liv's over here giving out the broadcast. They're like, hey, yeah, come on and watch it. I watched it on livegolf.com or whatever.
Yeah.
I watched it for free.
Yeah.
I got to watch half of the best players in the world play for free. I didn't have to pay ESPN Plus or Peacock to watch Wyndham Clark shoot his 60.
No.
You know who I got to watch? I got to watch Cam Smith go 5 under through 5 holes on the final day, which we'll get into here in a second. I got to see John Rahm kind of fold there at the end, start making runs, kind of fold there at the end. I got to see Sergio Garcia, Serge, no pun intended. Yeah. I got to see Joaquin Nieman, Waco Nieman, his nickname. I got to see Waco Nieman win a tournament on Live. Yeah. On this team, on the underdog team of Torque, or as they say stupidly on the Live Golf thing, this is the only problem I had with the whole freaking broadcast, is they kept pronouncing it Torque. It's Torque. You're speaking English. Stop it. You know what I mean? It baffles me. And we'll get into some of these takes here in a second. Baffles me, some of these takes. Wyndham Clark should be ashamed for saying I want to be ranked so high. What does that even mean if half the people aren't even on there? Yeah. What does it mean?
Do you legitimately? I want to ask Wyndham Clark. Do you legitimately think you're a better player than John Rahm?
No, you don't even have to ask that question. All you have to ask him is the OWGR a valid ranking system given today's golf climate? The answer by any standard is no.
Yeah.
The answer by any metric is no.
100%.
There's plenty of ranking systems out there that are better than OWGR, but we just don't use them for some freaking reason.
Well, it's because it's the established one. It's like you were talking about, or like we've said on this podcast many times, it's not the one that the golf media in general acknowledge.
Yeah. It's a fact. And the people on the boards are probably friends of each other, and that's probably why.
Yeah.
That's the sucky part. The real sucky part about all this is that whenever you have these organizations, a lot of the people on the different organizations are also on the boards of these other organizations.
Yeah.
So like, and I'll do some research into it, but like, I'd be willing to bet that the people on the OWGR board are really close with the people on the board of the PGA Tour.
What makes you say that?
I don't know. I'd be willing to bet that though. I'd be willing to put big money on it. Big money hit. So yeah, are you pouring more? That wasn't enough for you?
No.
What are you?
I'm a sick little boy.
All right. So we know Zach didn't watch the tournaments because he's a good for nothing. Cheers
True.
to Zach. He's a good for nothing. But Zach, what did you watched the highlights? You told me that.
Yeah.
What did you think of Joaquin Nieman's win?
I'll tell you what, man. Hold on.
What are you doing?
I tell you what, Zane. I can't get over the music. I can't get over the music. It's just so distracting, and it makes it feel like a game.
Can you talk about the
this
tournament?
is like
talk about the tournament.
Professional golf.
Talk about the tournament.
Listen, the tournament. It was the music was so distracting I could barely pay attention. And then not only that, the whole team aspect makes no sense. Like, why am I focusing on this team? I want to watch individual players play golf.
We're going to get into on team. We're going to get into the bad take. What did you think of Joaquin Nieman's win?
What do you mean? I'm talking about the things I believe.
We're talking about Joaquin Nieman's win.
He played really good. I'm just saying the music got a little annoying.
It was good. So did you get to see the playoff?
I did. Finishing in the dark, that was kind of dope.
That was pretty dope.
But the music was a lot.
And dude, the coolest part about that was it was a good thing they had people watching. They couldn't even see the ball down in the fairway. And they were putting in the light of the Jumbotron.
Yeah.
That was pretty dope. That was pretty cool. That huge
Unfortunately,
Jumbotron
the music kind of ruined it all.
Zach, shut up.
I know that we got a great playoff between Sergio Garcia and Joaquin Niemann in the dark, and it was like a scene from The Legend of Bagger Vance, very cinematic-like. Like you could just imagine them pulling up like the 1930s cars and shining the lights on the green so everyone could see what's going on. Like I realized that we got all that, but the music and the team aspect just really got in my head.
Just shut up right now. Just stop. Stop talking, please. I'm begging.
What?
I'm begging you. So, with that being said, we talked about Joaquin Nieman's win. By the way, beat Sergio. They're pretty close. That was kind of cool because that was kind of his one of his mentors whenever he first got on tour was Sergio. It was also really cool seeing the good charity work he's doing with his Chilean sports charity for kids. That was really neat.
For sure. Yeah.
But what did you think of, I know you only watch highlights, and I'll get into what my take is on it. What did you think of the broadcast? So we'll get into the wild takes. We'll get into the wild takes.
In all honesty, okay, this is me being 100% truthful here, okay?
Please be honest.
In all honesty, Live Golf is doing more to innovate the golf broadcast than has been done on the PGA Tour in any broadcast, whether it's CBS, NBC, Fox, ESPN, doesn't matter. More to do it in the last 2 years than has happened in the last 30 in golf.
Yeah.
The last innovation to come on the PGA Tour side of things is probably, I can think of two, and it's Whoop, which I don't give a shit about, and Shot Tracer.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think so. Just from and we'll get into Kyle Porter and Dan Rappaport here in a second, but I really do believe, just from watching that, and I told this to you before we got on today. I started watching the very first tournament they did. Back 2 years ago. And it was not great. So Live Golf at the very beginning, and even last year, the very beginning was very, very the broadcast looked a little discombobulated, didn't flow naturally. A lot of the graphics were kind of janky. Like the names, you didn't know who was hitting the ball. I hated how before it was like 3 letters and you were supposed to be able to tell who was hitting from those 3 letters. That was just ridiculous. It's like PHI or something. Like, come on. Yeah. So it was hard. It was hard back then watching it. And I do remember the PGA was better. Watching it was a little bit better. But now, dude, you're exactly right. This is me, mom, and dad are actually thinking about going and watching the Nashville one live in late June. Don't know if I'm going to be able to yet, but we'll see. But anyway, it was just amazing. I mean, so the graphics polished, so good. The live line was pretty neat. I love the fact they do that little tracer thing, like if the strokes gained, if they go here versus here, what the strokes gain differential is on sides of the hole on the fairway. Loved that. It was also cool seeing the strokes gained on driving distance. Like if they drove at a certain distance, that gave them a chance to shoot lower scores or gave the possibility for lower scores versus if they were further out or something.
Yeah, that was really... I also liked on the last putt that Joaquin Nieman made, it gave a little like, okay, if he hits it hard, this is how far outside the hole he needs to play it. If he hits it soft, this is how far outside the hole.
Yeah, the live line. The live line.
Yeah. I didn't know that's what it was called, but it looked good. The overlay was amazing and perfect because he hit it right down the middle of it, and it went in the hole.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was so. It is such a good broadcast. So we'll get into the wild takes here in a second. But anybody that says that this broadcast does not beat out the PGA Tour is full of it. Full of it. You're just crazy. Because this was so entertaining. And I'll tell you this. And we'll get, like I said, I know I keep saying it. We'll get into it in a second. But you can't say that it isn't even more entertaining on the bottom rings. Cam Smith, that was captivating. 5 under through 5 on the first 5 holes. You thought something was going to happen that was really special. Now he petered out a little bit, but he brought his team back from the depths. Rippers were way down, and then suddenly they shot way up just from him and another teammate like going at it. And then you saw Rahm needing help from his teammate, Hatton and Surratt. Them going off on the final day was really cool. And really put them over the edge.
Yeah. Got them the win, the team win.
Got them the team win. And seen like Nieman close it out against Sergio and Rahm. He was playing with Rahm in the final match.
Yeah.
With him, so he closed out John Rahm. That was just so entertaining. And it went into a 4-hole playoff. So you can't tell me. I don't care what we get into as far as wild takes go. You cannot tell me that wasn't pure entertainment. That was so good. Yeah. Like, let's go ahead into these wild takes. Do you want to go ahead and bring up these wild takes? Please bring up these wild takes.
It'll give me a second to pull them up. Just give me one moment here.
You're good.
And these are wild takes that I saw. I talked about them with Zane a little bit pre-show.
Let me stop sharing.
For the most part, Zane hasn't really gotten to dive deep into these because I just brought him up to a pre-show. Many of you know my opinions and Zane's opinions on Dan Rappaport working over at where's he at? Barstool now?
Barstool.
Yeah, he shows the journalistic integrity of Dave Portnoy. So here's his tweet. Some thoughts after watching Live All Day. They've obviously snagged a bunch of amazing players. It's fun to watch back nine battles between amazing players. And the broadcast shows a ton of golf. It's not a bad watch. On mute. The music is bizarre, makes it feel less important, genuinely just annoying. that aside, I enjoyed watching it today.
So
But the team thing,
real quick,
yeah.
before you keep going on, for people that don't know, there was music. There was absolutely music playing in the background. It wasn't from the broadcast. It was from the site. So that music was coming in through their, the audio, obviously. It wasn't from the broadcast. So for people looking at this and saying, oh, they were playing music while they were hitting putts and stuff, like ESPN Top 10, no. This is coming from the site, from the course, right? Because they have live music at the event. Keep going.
All right. But the team thing is just a total miss from me. I don't care. More distracting than anything. And that's a big problem because that's what their business model is based on, making these teams valuable and selling them. But LIV is at its best when it's just a golf tournament between really good players on a broadcast that shows a lot of shots. It's not a novel concept. It's an interesting situation they're in with them with this team deal.
So, Zach, thoughts?
Listen, I've been vocal, you could say, about my opinions on this person. He's been accused of me and others in the past of being a ridiculous fence sitter and kind of a genuine scumbag. But
I don't know about scumbag.
Listen.
He's not a scumbag.
I don't hate the guy.
You said scumbag.
Listen, if you're not having an opinion on a thing and you're deliberately avoiding the topic of discussion, I think that's a little sleazy. Okay? That's just me. I don't know.
But he's not a scumbag for having an opinion.
No, I'm saying he's a scumbag for not having an opinion on something he absolutely
just gave an opinion. That's an opinion.
He finally gave an opinion, and it was so bizarre and wrong. Like, his opinion is just wrong.
He's not a scumbag. I actually think he's probably a normal, nice guy. He just lives in that world. Like, he lives in that PGA Tour bubble.
I guess so, because this is just so bizarre. He has just outright refused to take a stance on anything. And when it comes to LIV Golf, he's like, don't like teams, hate music as well. Peace out. And that's his opinion? Are you serious?
Well, and the crazy part about that whole tweet is that's how he's going to. So notice the layering. Top is, here's what they do well. Now here's the stuff they do that's crap.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a nice sandwich. He's not going nice, crap, nice. And he's not going bad and then nice. He's deliberately he's a journalist. He knows this.
Yeah.
He's deliberately putting the bad stuff at the bottom. So that's the last thing you think about.
Well, and the more I think about that tweet, the more I think that it's not a novel concept thing. Is like, oh, you get the same thing on the PGA Tour. Well, it's like, no, you don't.
No, you
literally don't.
So, and here's my biggest rebuttal to that. Why would I care at all what Cam Smith did?
Exactly.
I wouldn't.
When it's like this guy has never. Well, it's like this guy's never covered the College National Championship, which is a team event.
Yeah. Well,
yes, it's individuals, but they play in a team event. A team still wins the College National title.
Correct. Yeah, but I mean, this was my point. I think he's in that world. That kind of brainwashes him to a certain extent. And again, he might not even be aware of it. Most people aren't. Whenever they've got like certain biases, right? I've got biases. You've got biases. And that's why
I said at the beginning, I don't think this LIV thing's going to pan out, blah, 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 blah. At the very beginning, you go back and watch Chunk and Run about 2.5, 3 years ago. And I think when this whole thing was announced by Greg Norman, before any players had moved or anything, I said, I don't think this is going to be anything. I can't imagine players wanting to choose this over the PGA Tour. I feel like this should be more of like almost a G League for the PGA Tour over the Korn Ferry Tour because it sounds good.
Yeah.
In theory.
I was on the opposite side of that. I always believe
So I was on the other side of this for a while.
Yeah,
I was.
I know you were.
Okay. But like, if you watch the broadcast and you're like, I don't like music, I don't like teams. Okay. Well then, okay, you're not allowed to watch the Ryder Cup or think it's good anymore.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to go that far.
No,
right?
I'm gonna say it.
No.
You're not allowed to watch the Ryder Cup or think it's good, or the President's Cup, or the college national title, or anything.
I'm not gonna go that far.
You're not allowed to say, "Oh, Tiger Woods, Charlie Woods won his state championship. His team won the state championship." Not allowed to say that.
I'm not gonna go that far.
I am.
Well, you can, but listen.
I will.
He is right about a certain aspect of that, and we've went over this. Is the logoing and the team names? They do need a tweaking. Torque, especially with them saying Torque. That is the most cringy thing. An English guy saying Torque, especially since if you actually pronounce it in Spanish, sounds like Torque. You know what I mean? It's not Torque. You know what I mean? It's like you don't overly pronounce the QUE.
Yeah, but he's British, man. He doesn't know.
It's so dumb. Anyway, but to his credit, he is right in a certain way, and that is they do need to rejigger these names a little bit. They definitely need to. Cliques.
We talked about it last week. Yeah, the names aren't great.
However, the team aspect is freaking awesome. I was zoned in because I saw Caleb Surratt killing it on day 3. I saw Cam Smith killing it on day 3. I saw Richard Bland knock a hole-in-one in on day 3. Like, these things matter now.
Well,
there's
here's
stakes.
the thing.
No, there's stakes.
Yes.
They matter. They actually matter.
Every single swing of the golf club by every player in the field matters. No matter if they're in first place or in the future. 30th place.
And not just in the future. This is the problem. Yeah, like he can make the rebuttal. I'm gonna rebut his future rebuttal to this if he were to ever respond, which he's not going to. But even if his rebuttal is OWGR points still count, like it still matters then. No, but it matters this week. It doesn't matter way down the line. It matters this week.
Well, it does matter way down the line as well because of the season long.
No. But yes, obviously, that's an obvious statement. But I'm saying it matters now.
Yeah.
It matters now how you perform.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It matters way down the line, sure, but it matters now. It doesn't matter now on the PGA Tour, except for in the terms of cash, but not in the terms of audience. Audience doesn't care. Audience does not care what tied for 30th wins in the
No one cares. Listen, the problem with the PGA Tour is no one cares about Lanto Griffin, and I care, okay? I care what that guy's doing.
No. Zach, come on. Steer it back.
Shout out to Lanto Griffin. I love that guy.
Steer it back onto the road. We're off the road. We got to steer it back. Okay, so the point is it matters now. Like that is the ultimate thing to take away is I don't care what T30th makes out of the purse money.
Yeah.
I don't give a damn. I do care if that puts his team in a better position down the line, especially if I'm rooting for that team. Now, the problem that Liv's going to come across is how do you get fans, and part of it is the personalities, but how do you get fans to buy into certain teams? That's where they're going to run into a little bit of a hard thing there, because yes, you can attach, and plenty of people do. You can attach to a player and say like, "Oh, I like that team now."
Yeah.
But how do you get somebody kind of like the Buccaneers? How do you get somebody to attach to just that team? I don't think there's a good answer to that. I don't, because there's only 4 guys, right? So it's kind of like basketball. You're going to attach to a player rather than a team. Even in basketball, you attach to a team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that is going to be hard because they aren't tied to any geographical. Some of them are a little bit tied to a geographical region. You got the Majestics, which are English, and Great Britain and United Kingdom, right? So you have that. You have the Ironheads, which are more, what you would say. I know Kevin Na's on there. He's Asian American, but you have the kind of the Asian team, right? Danny Lee, right? You have that team. You have like the Australian team, right? I get that, but the problem is going to be how do you tie people and fans? How do you get them not just engaged, but bought in to different teams and squads? And I think that the way you do it is through what John Rahm did with that Legion 13 thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Because he tied it to basically Spain. Now, that's great because here's the deal, Zach. Even FC Barcelona has people on their team that aren't from Spain.
Yeah.
But you know who roots for FC Barcelona?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, tell me. Who roots for FC Barcelona?
People from in Barcelona.
People in Barcelona. Yes. That's my point.
Yeah.
Right? Same thing with like Manchester United. People in Manchester will either root for Man City or Man United, right?
Yeah.
So
and then they'll fight about it in the streets.
That's my whole point, is they probably need to go more toward some of these teams and team names being geared toward geographical centers, especially being known as they want to be known as this world tour.
Yeah.
They need to tie these teams to geographical regions, even if the geographical regions, the players aren't necessarily from those regions.
I agree.
I'll give you an example, right?
I'll give you a better example than the one you're already thinking of.
No, you're not.
What the heck? Okay, first off, yes, I will.
The example that I'm going to give is like high flyers, right? Can be Quebec, right? Can be Quebec, or it can be Seattle, right? You can have the Ironheads be Singapore, where they actually have a tournament.
Yeah.
You could have the Rippers, obviously by Australia. You could have, does that make sense? And then you rejigger the name, even though I chose the ones with like the best names. High Flyers, Rippers, and Ironheads actually have really cool names and logos. But, I mean, does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. I was going to make a better example. Everyone in the Midwest, or most people in the Midwest, are Milwaukee Bucks fans. A lot of Milwaukee Bucks fans. Their best players from Greece. Giannis Antetokounmpo did not grow up in Milwaukee, but they're all a fan of Giannis Antetokounmpo because he plays for the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yes, yeah.
He's that guy. He brought him a championship.
Yeah.
Also, Zane, I want to do a game, and it starts right now. You have to pick a team. You have to pick a live team to root for. Who you picking?
That's so hard. I mean, I'm so biased. I'm so biased. I'm so biased. I don't want to be that guy that's like bandwagon. I want Legion 13. At the same time, I do love that team.
I'm not bandwagoning. I already got mine picked.
Okay. I don't know, dude. I like Cam Smith. I'm gonna have to go with, because Caleb Surratt's on Legion 13. That makes it hard, dude. I really want to root for that kid. I say kid. He's not that much. Well, he is a lot younger than me, but I mean, I'm gonna root for High Flyers just because it's got Phil on it. He's my favorite player.
Give me the Majestics, baby.
You like the Majestics?
Sam Horsfield, Majestics.
Great Britain and UK.
Local man. Kicked my butt in every single junior tournament I ever played with him.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good – and the Majestics – so that's the cool thing about the Majestics is they do actually have kind of a geographical region. I wish they would actually, though, tie it to it. You know what I mean? Like, make it
the Manchester Majestics.
Yes. Make it the Manchester Majestics or just the Great Britain Majestics. The UK
they have Henrik
Majestics.
Stenson on there, but still.
Just call it the UK Majestics. Like that would be so
I
cool.
think the Manchester Majestics has too much of a ring to it. Like you got to go Manchester or something like that.
No, I think that makes it sound worse. I think it should be the UK Majestics, the United Kingdom Majestics.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And then the Seattle High Flyers. I don't know.
The Philadelphia High Flyers.
Oh, that would be good. But they already have the Philadelphia Flyers, so.
But that's why it works so good because it's the High Flyers.
Like you can't do that.
Dude, trust me. They both hit stuff like that.
You got different.
They go like this to hit stuff.
Could be just middle of the country Oklahoma High Flyers.
That's horrible.
Why would that be horrible?
No one lives in Oklahoma, dude. You got to make it a coastal team.
Oh, why? Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, but like,
come on.
More people live in Milwaukee than the entire
OKC Thunder. Come on, like what?
No one lives.
What are you talking about?
No one golfs in Oklahoma.
You're ridiculous, man.
No one golfs out there, man.
No one golfs out, dude. They had like, are you effing kidding me? The NAIA like gets dominated by Oklahoma teams. What are you talking about?
Bro, no one golfs out there. Just trust me.
Dude, you're
anyway.
fine.
My team's the Majestics. Wait, how do I do? Wait, no, it was this.
Yes, just shut up.
Majestics, baby.
Stop it. You're embarrassing yourself.
Majestics.
So let's get into Kyle Porter's. Did we do Kyle Porter's?
No,
tape?
we haven't done Kyle Porter's yet. I got him up. So let's go ahead and look at it. Oh, I removed it. Add to stage. Hand up. I'm not sure what Liv is or will be. There's still some silliness and some ridiculous people involved. Some very ridiculous people involved. Got to highlight that. The logos and names are absurd. The structure should prohibit OWGR points. But I think to continue to refer to the below as an exhibition league would be pretty foolish.
So first off, at least he's admitting a big thing there.
Yeah.
Which is to refer to it as an exhibition league is foolish. Yes, 100% that's a foolish thing. And you all said it for so long, you pieces of crap.
Yeah.
You pieces of these people have no they have no accountability on themselves.
Yeah.
Like, these people are so not there. They don't understand the things that they've said in the past. They don't say like, hey, I got it wrong. They don't.
Sorry about that, guys.
You still haven't heard, even though Rory's done a complete 180, 360 ollie flip on this thing, he still hasn't come out and said like, hey, I got it wrong. Still hasn't. He still hasn't apologized.
No.
Like he has it in kind, but he hasn't legitimately, like literally he hasn't apologized.
Well, and it's like, okay, you're saying that Liv has some ridiculous people involved, and Brandel Chambly is pretty involved in the PGA Tour.
Yes. Too much so. Too much so. That's exactly
Talking about ridiculous people being involved in things.
It's like, dude, you guys have those two guys. You have Eamon Lynch there spouting nonsense. We just went over him. You have him spouting nonsense. Him and who's the other guy? Who's that other guy on the TV? I never remember his name, even though it's something that's really easy to remember. He's channel. Damon Hack. That's right, because it has to do with golf because he's a hack. He is a hack. He is a hack. He's a freaking big golf media hack. But them talking about like legacy and crap like it means a freaking thing. It doesn't mean a freaking thing.
No.
Like OWGR points don't matter anymore, dude. You lost John Rahm. You lost Terrell Hatton, who was on top of the freaking world last year on the PGA Tour. Like, you lost all these guys. You lost Phil Mickelson,
Bryson DeChambeau, Brooks Koepka, Dustin Johnson, Patrick Reed.
We can keep going down the list. You lost all these dudes. You lost Caleb Surratt, who could have been like the second coming on tour. He's really good, by the way. And the worst part of this was another thing about the Live broadcast that bothered the hell out of me, other than them pronouncing it Torquay, is they were pronouncing Caleb Surratt's name wrong. They were saying Caleb Surratt, and they were saying like, "Oh, he's coming out of nowhere." It's like, you didn't know who this kid was? Are you kidding me? You even cover golf, dude? Like, this kid I knew about him.
Yeah.
Not just because I knew him before Ryan O'Neal, our buddy, who hopefully we have him on the show. He's playing in a tournament, by the way, right now. Hopefully we have him on the show soon. But I knew about him before he even told me about him.
Yeah.
And he's buddies with him. But I knew about Caleb Surratt before that because of how good he was and his reputation.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, he had a bigger reputation. People in golf know this, but he had a bigger reputation than Horsfield, who grew up near us.
Yeah.
Caleb Surratt had a national reputation.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Horsfield did to an extent, obviously. But yeah, not like Surratt. I mean, that's what kind of really, really caught me off. They said it a number of times too, which bothered the hell out of me. It's like,
well, I'm sure it'll get corrected. It's also his first tournament, so.
Yeah, I get that. But the announcers maybe should say, "Hey, he's not a household name now, but I've heard about him. You know, he's he's going to be the next big thing. He's going to be the next big thing."
And say, yeah, he may not be a household name now, but he will be. I mean, I've been hearing stories about this kid since blah 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 blah, and he did this and that. Yeah, that's a good time for the announcer to do that. But
yeah, but instead they go, "Oh, we never heard of him before." Just, dude, do your job. Hype the guy up. He is easy to hype up. Do your job. So that's the only real critique I have, honestly, is the announcers not doing their homework before doing the broadcast. They weren't terrible. They were just as good as the PGA Tour broadcast hosts, a little bit better because they had David Feherty on, and he was awesome.
Yeah.
But he was Dave Feherty doing what Dave Feherty does, which is being a G. But
he's the best color commentator golf's ever had.
Oh, 100%. That's yes. And if you disagree with that, you don't know
him or
Gary McCord.
Yeah, Gary McCord.
Yeah, agreed. Agree with that, 100%. And they need more guys like that. I'm amazed they don't shop around. For guys like that. And
it's not that hard.
It's really not. And so, yeah, it just bothers the hell out of me. Anyway.
I think, to be fair, the NFL has some terrible guys doing color, but
they do. But
that's the biggest sports league in the world.
Can you bring up that tweet one more time? So we covered that last part, obviously. The second, the first part of that though, is talking about, you already said some ridiculous people, the logos and names. We talked about that. There's obviously some merit to that. Some of them are absurd. The Torque one, I just called him Torque. Shoot me. The Torque one, I just don't get it. I don't understand. Fireballs, kind of like Spanish-ish, kind of. But yeah, all those ones on top, Stinger, Torque, Fireballs, they do look janky. I agree. But this is why you can revamp that. The broadcast itself was freaking awesome. Let's touch on that third point he makes right there, Zach, right now. Why is he saying the structure should prohibit OWGR points?
Because he's a closed-minded fool and an idiot. Because what is functionally, what is the difference between what happened this weekend on the PGA Tour versus Live Golf? Functionally, what is the difference?
There is no difference.
There is no difference except that the Live Golf had a better tournament, period.
Yeah.
And they actually completed the amount of holes they were supposed to play.
And I actually cared about who was on bottom shooting well.
Yeah.
So
it was a better broadcast. It was free. I mean, they talk about all this grow the game. People, you can't grow the game if you can't watch. Yes. Period.
That's why I hated whenever and I know the tour did it for money, obviously, just like the NFL did that freaking peacock crap for money as well.
Yeah.
But But did you guys cover that on Beerly on the
did.
Beerly football?
We did.
Oh my God, that's unreal! What a slap in the face to the average man. What a slap in the face to the average NFL fan. Anyway, so back on this is the exact same problem. What a slap in the face to your PGA Tour watcher who wants to watch Thursday and Friday.
Yeah.
Now they have to outsource that to some subscription service and pay their monthly cable bill.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest,
if they're paying for like the Golf Channel thing, like if they're paying for all that, on their cable bill, and they still have to subscribe to Peacock to watch Thursday and Friday.
Yeah,
that was the big problem with the NFL thing too. It's like people pay for the NFL Network subscription so they can watch every game live. That's the big deal. That's why you pay for that service, and then it's just not offered.
Yeah,
because it's only on Peacock.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I tell you what, people. Not that I'm endorsing this in any way, but I kind of am. If you keep doing this, people are just going to start pirating streams.
That's it. No, this is exactly oh my God. There's actually economic professors that have covered this. You can take this off. We're done with it. We're done with his tweet.
Okay.
This is exactly, so I've actually read papers on this. They're losing money because what they're doing is they're crowding out the market and they're pushing people to these black markets.
Yeah.
And here's the issue with that is once those people leave, there's no getting them back. Because now they're not going to spend on your platform.
Yeah.
So they've literally put themselves into this corner where they're having to charge more and more money because more and more people are leaving and pirating streams.
Mm-hmm.
Again, not endorsing it, but that's exactly what's happening, right? People leave, 100%. People go pirate streams.
And then they're like, well, I could just do this for free every Sunday or if you're watching golf every Thursday and Friday, I could just go do this for free instead of paying for a Peacock subscription, which if I pay for the Peacock subscription, I have to buy the premium service. So I'm not inundated with ads every 30 seconds of the stream, or I'm not inundated with a stream will be returning soon on Peacock for a minute and a half because they're showing commercials to other people.
Yes. Absolutely. Dude, you are so on point with we are on the same level right now. So yes, 100%. And that's what is just astonishing to me, how these people don't see it. And it's a lot of it is short-sighted greed. A lot of it is. And I'm not saying I'm not one of these guys that says capitalism is a problem, yada, 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 yada. Not going to make a political statement on it.
Well, even then it's like, that's just a bad move in capitalism.
Correct. It's a bad business move.
Yes.
100%. 100%. This is why UFC works, by the way. If for people wondering why UFC works, because they do the pay-per-view model and they stick to the pay-per-view model. Yes. That is why that works.
And they also aggressively go after pirated streams.
Correct. And they can because it's the pay-per-view model.
Yes.
If NFL wanted to do that, they probably wouldn't know how to do it at first, obviously, but if they wanted to do that, they definitely could. Definitely could. There's no doubt in my mind they could. Right? I mean, it's basically what they did with the NFL, the NFL Network, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically what it is, pay-per-view. Right? But what they did is they, rather than going all in on the pay-per-view, they were like, here, let's sell the rights to watch this over here. And let's sell the rights to watch this over here. And let's sell the rights to watch this over here. Rather
this
than
only available on Prime. This one's only available on Peacock. This one's only available blah, blah, blah.
Exactly. And they do it in the guise of, hey, we're just trying to reach football fans. But here's the problem with that. Football fans are already getting the NFL subscription. Yeah. What do you mean? What do you mean?
A football fan, a big NFL fan, is going to pay the $60-something a year it takes to watch every NFL game if that's something that they want.
Yes, absolutely.
They don't have a Peacock subscription expecting the NFL to all of a sudden send a game over to Peacock.
Correct. And especially, dude, and I know this was the reason they did it, obviously, because it was a wild card game, but especially in the freaking playoffs. Are you kidding me? whenever it's on the line, to then go to Peacock and be like, here's all this money. Oh, dude, betrayal at the highest of heights. And PGA Tour did the same thing. Let's be completely honest. They did the same thing whenever they switched, and we covered it at the time. Whenever they switched to Thursday and Friday being only offered through pay-per-view model, not pay-per-view model, but subscription model.
Yeah,
it's exactly what they did. And yeah, oh man. Anyway, I'm losing.
To say that that's to reach fans is the most ridiculous thing ever. That's so you can quickly line your pockets. Is what it is.
That's exactly right.
Congratulations to Jay Monahan on the Rays, by the way. Just wanted to point that out, that he's the only one. He's the main person getting rich off of all this. So
yes, he is.
But I think that's all we have for tonight's show, Zane.
Well, let's finish up with this. I do want to finish up with this here. Hold on real quick. Let's listen to the rest of this answer that Damon Hack and Eamon Lynch give, because I love making fun of those two. Let me go here real quick. Hold on. Sorry, I just passed.
Who do you hate more? Do you hate Eamon Lynch or Brandel Chambly? I know one of them have you blocked on Twitter. I don't know if both of them do.
Eamon Lynch might not anymore. Brandel Chambly definitely does. Who do I hate more?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like if I were to say like my dislike of the two people, I actually don't dislike Eamon Lynch all that much. I think he's just got bad opinions. I do think Brandel Chambly is a little turd and a child. I think he's a child in a man's, like, to make some of the moral claims that he tries to make is just,
that's fair.
Like eye rolling bad.
Well,
you know
and then also blocking everyone that disagrees with you after you say something incredibly inflammatory.
Yeah.
Is like the softest thing I've ever heard of.
Yeah.
I mean, he might be the softest little gummy bear in the bag. If you know what I'm saying.
So, and real quick, just to update people on what the OWGR update is after last weekend. Wyndham Clark went from 10th to 6th. Joaquin Nieman went from 66th to 74th. So if you're thinking that the system's not broken, Exhibit A.
Yeah.
Well, Exhibit Z, because we've already gone over A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
We're on Exhibit B52.
Correct. So real quick, let me go ahead and let's.
By the way, once again, shout out to Wyndham Clark for winning his Cupcake award.
What's a cupcake?
It's a fake win.
It's a fake win.
It's a fake win.
It's a fake win.
It is. He didn't win that tournament. The tournament got canceled, and he happened to be leading at the time.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that is the cupcakeiest way to win a golf tournament for sure. I mean, granted, he did shoot a great number. I'm not going to take away anything from that.
You know how many times I've seen Rory in the final round leading, going into a major, and then lose? So many.
There is something different about knowing. There is something different about knowing it.
Listen. If Rory McIlroy could have all his tournaments be 3-rounders, dude, he'd be the greatest player of all time. Unfortunately for him, that's not how golf works. Unless before stated.
So you ready?
Yeah.
All right. You sharing it?
I am now.
All right.
Player, agent to player, agent to tour. It's just a fascinating time. And to me, the Jon Rahm decision broke the mold in a lot of ways. He was the one using terms like fealty and loyalty to the PGA Tour.
I got to stop him. right there. Jon Rahm was speaking loyalty and fealty to the PGA Tour. First off, it was tongue-in-cheek when he said, I swear fealty to the PGA Tour. It was definitely tongue-in-cheek. If you read it any other way, you're an idiot. Secondly, they betrayed him.
Absolutely.
By the way. They betrayed him big time. It's one reason why they had to take all his pictures off of the TGL site and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they are the people that have really, because he was one of the guys speaking out about, hey, I don't want to play that much. Like, I don't want to play as much as you're making me play. And then they added the Monday thing. He's like, well, this is just the opposite of what you promised. Anyway.
Yep.
And someone who had really kind of dug into the history of the meaning of venues like Torrey Pines and TPC Scotts. They played here as an amateur and put on a Pat Tillman jersey. I mean, he was someone who was really kind of lapping up the history of the PGA Tour. And when he made the choice to go to LIV, that told me that anybody potentially could go. So I think Wyndham Clark, like a lot of players, is playing the waiting game. You know, am I going to go to a tour
This is true.
my current tour isn't talking to and negotiating? Why wouldn't I see what else is out there if we're going to all be one big happy family in 2 years' time anyway? So I think a lot of people in and around a game are kind of hedging their bets and using whatever leverage they can to see what dollar numbers they can command.
And it should be.
That's actually true. So that's a great opinion by Damon Hack.
His conversations with LIV and his interest level in it would not have happened without the framework agreement. The framework agreement gave players the green light to kick the tires on LIV and have conversations, because if they're good enough for the tour to be in business with, why shouldn't the players be accorded the same luxury the tour were giving themselves? Yeah. So it shouldn't be a surprise in the sense, and Wyndham's actually unusual in the sense that he's actually being open about the conversations, that he's had most of them still kind of move around by
not
stealth.
so much.
When it comes to that subject, but it really does
interesting
bring
word
into sharp relief this idea of whether or not golfers can be independent contractors.
Yeah.
Now, when private equity is involved in the tour, it just highlights the need to guarantee the product that you are giving to fans, the product you're giving to sponsors. The investors want their product guaranteed as best they can, and that is not compatible with having these guys essentially choose when they go to work or for whom they go to work.
Fascinating to see that if ultimately the players do become contract.
So
not
real
necessarily
quick,
true.
Yeah, not necessarily true. I agree with you there. And the cool thing about LIV is, you know, they're still, the way they have it set up is they're still contractors. They're still contractors. They just going to be on teams. The idea is to sell these teams to different people, right? To different groups, and then those teams can make money, or sorry, the people that own the teams can make money off the teams. That's the idea. So anyway, let's keep going just a little bit more. I think there's just a little bit more.
Like other sports, will they going to sign a 4-year, $80 million deal? Will there be contract holdouts? You know, like sometimes in the NFL or Major League Baseball, the player won't show up to camp. You know, they skip training camp or they skip mini camp because they don't like what the contract. They played better than their contract. And, you know, I'm not going to come and play on this current deal. I want to tear this sheet up and start over. I mean, so there's definitely some potential positives with having a contract, but then you also become maybe more similar to other sports, and that brings in a whole other potential issues as well.
No. What if golf was more like the most profitable sports industry in the world? What if that happened? Oh, God, what are we going to do?
I don't get the downside. I just don't get the downside to contract holdouts.
What?
Like, what the hell?
What are we talking about
That makes it way more interesting. Oh, stop. Please stop making it more interesting. Stop it.
It's like,
stop it. You're making golf too interesting.
No, golf can't become like the most profitable sports industry in the entire world.
You're making
the NFL.
Golf, you're making golf too interesting.
Guys?
Stop it. Stop making it
interesting.
Guys,
if we can't like talk about whether or not Rory's gonna win a major this century, what are we gonna do? What if Wyndham Clark has a contract holdout? What are we gonna talk about then? We're going to have to talk about contracts and the teams and all this stupid stuff. I can't talk about Rory and how he's going to blow another major in the final round. Shut up.
I just like to point out everything they said at the end is a plus for LIV. Like the fact he's mentioning contract holdouts. It's like, okay, some of the most gripping stuff that happens in NFL football. You know, like,
you're right.
Is the guy going to stay there? You know, is the guy going to stay there? Like, oh my God. Do you remember when Tom Brady was shopping around after the Patriots?
Yes. Everyone.
Oh my God. The biggest ratings. Can you imagine John Rahm like shopping around? Like, I don't want to play for Legion 13 anymore. Who's going to give me the best deal?
Yeah.
Like, anyway.
Yeah, also no one talks about in soccer when big names transfer, right? Like no one cared when Cristiano Ronaldo left Manchester United and went to Barcelona, right? No one cared at all.
Yeah.
That was not a big deal.
Not a big deal.
Yeah, I didn't think so. No one cared when Messi left the Premier League to go play for Miami. No one talked about that ever. I believe that was what happened. Also, he didn't make the MLS relevant for like a month and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That didn't happen. I was just making sure that I had my history correct on that. This is the dumbest opinions.
It's so dumb.
It's like, okay, I get that you guys only watch golf. Okay. I get that. Okay. Maybe expand our circle a little bit so that we can have like more well-rounded opinions on the world of sports, because this just makes you sound stupid. That's what it does.
And real golf fans do enjoy watching other sports for that very reason. You know,
exactly.
I'm going to be honest with you. There's tons of golfers out there that don't watch week in, week out. That's why they play on Saturday and Sunday at the country club. They don't watch these tournaments. They don't watch AT&T Pro-Am. And that's another problem with this whole diminishing return bull crap, is because you have the RBC Canadian Open, and then you have a tournament immediately after that one. Like, we've gone in a direction with golf that is just in the direction of kind of making it pointless to play.
The only thing that the average golf fan cares about, and I'm going to be 100% honest, the only thing the average golf fan cares about is the majors.
Correct.
Maybe the Players' Championship. Maybe.
Other
than that, they don't really care.
This is why the Live Tour, and again, I still want majors. This is why the Live Tour is a good thing. I'm telling you, watching that, I will never. Well, that's a lie. I don't want to watch another PGA Tour event until they get their crap together with how good that Live Golf broadcast was. That was so entertaining. I can't stress enough how entertaining it was. These are the people that literally, you're exactly right, just watch golf nonstop. They don't do anything else.
Because it's like, how do you think that, like, getting people talking about, like, oh, where is this person going to end up? Like, if you don't think that engages fans, that's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, I'm serious. Like, change the channel. Actually, change the channel. Watch the Super Bowl. Or watch the offseason. The offseason is one of the most exciting times as an NFL fan, because you have free agency, you have the draft, you have all that stuff going on. Preseason, you're watching these players' first snaps on their new team.
Correct.
And then you get to the regular season, things start to break down. Like, okay, we could see kind of how teams are trending, blah, 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 blah. Football is it is, as a big football fan, I'm a huge football fan. Zane knows this. If you don't watch Barely Football, I don't know what you're doing. But as a big football fan, they have this industry of sports broadcasting down to a science.
Yes.
There is something to care about every day of the year.
I don't know about that.
Right now in the NFL, even if your favorite team had a horrible season, they're not in the playoffs. There's coaching changes, staff changes. You know, we're talking about, what are we going to do in the draft? Because that's coming up in like a month and a half.
But that's order of business, am I right? Like, that doesn't have to do with how they structured it. I mean, the cool thing about football is it's seasonal, and that's what makes it so captivating.
But let's in the golf off season, we're gonna call it the off season, even though it's kind of a wraparound.
It's not golf. Yeah, there's not really golf season anymore.
But like in the off season, where you're like in like, when does the Tour Championship happen? October.
Well, that's the other. Can we say this? That's the other cool thing about Live is there is an off season.
Yeah. When is the Tour Championship? It's in October, right?
Yeah, something like that. I do.
October, November, December, January. Like, who cares about or watches golf?
Yeah, it's actually no. It's in August, by the way. End of August, September.
So September, October, November, December, January. Who cares about or watches golf? Only the people that are already in.
Yeah. Well,
the average fan doesn't care and doesn't watch. I'm going to be 100% honest. The average fan doesn't care or doesn't watch. Only the guys that are full-fledged fans care or watch. Now, as a Jacksonville Jaguars fan, okay, am I still watching NFL games? Absolutely. It's the playoffs. Okay. But I'm also still caring about my team. I'm invested in what they're doing in the offseason because we got to make some changes because we missed some playoffs this year. And I'm pissed off about it.
Okay. Yeah, but not every football. I'm going to disagree with you here. Not every football fan gives a crap about off-season changes.
Not every football fan, but if you're a fan of a team, is what I'm getting at.
I still think the draw is back on what I said, which is seasonality.
Okay.
The problem with golf is it almost feels like there's no real seasonality to it.
I would agree, but my thing would be so with golf,
like the majors. Like I'll give you an example. The majors are over, right?
Yeah.
And then it's playoff time. A lot of people tune out during playoff time. A lot of people.
Until the Tour Championship, and then some people come back in.
And so some people come back in.
Some people don't because
A lot of people don't because they just care about the majors.
Yeah. But
that's the problem. That's the problem with the PGA Tour.
What I'm saying is on the PGA Tour, week in and week out, it's golf tournament, 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 week in, week out.
Yeah.
In the NFL, it's you have season in the fall to like late winter, right?
Okay.
Then, okay, you've seen a lot of football. And if you're already in, you're going to pay attention no matter what. But let's say you're a casual fan of, let me pick a franchise that's not incredibly huge. Let's say you're a casual fan of like the Los Angeles Chargers.
Bless you.
Let's say you're a casual fan of the Los Angeles Chargers. Okay. You may not pay attention to like OTAs and all that garbage, but you know what you are paying attention to? The average fan of a Los Angeles Chargers team is paying attention to who they drafted.
Yeah, that's fair.
It keeps them invested. Is paying attention to the signings they make in free agency, especially if it's a big signing.
I'll give you that.
So it's something different to care about at different points of the year. You're not just it's not just football game all year round.
Yes.
Because someone like me who's like loves football and would watch any kind of football. I was talking to Zane yesterday, and I was watching women's flag football in the Pro Bowl.
And not watching, by the way, to everybody out there listening, he wasn't watching golf. He was watching women's flag football.
Listen, I had a lot to say about critiquing coaching.
He was watching women's flag football on purpose. Not anything against ladies. But come on.
In my defense, I did not watch the Pro Bowl games.
That's even worse. He chose to watch women's flag football.
Way better. Watching average people play football is
games.
more entertaining than watching the Pro Bowl games. I will stick to that 1,000%. Anyway.
All right.
Anyway, well, like you said with seasonality, it's seasonal what a fan of a team cares about in the NFL.
Correct. Yeah.
You have games in a certain part of the year. You have the draft, free agency, and other parts of the year, and that basically that holds you over the entire year. But it's not the same thing over and over again. Correct. Is what my point was. It's like even though it's year round, like there's things to care about year round in the NFL. You're not inundated with the same thing over and over again. I don't have to watch like the RBC Heritage and then go and watch the Valero Texas Open. Like, I don't care.
Yeah. You know what would be cool? It'd be really cool. What? If they had like a trade deadline on Live and like
they should do that. They would
trade players during the season and then they have a trade deadline. Again, it's 4 guys, so that makes it a little bit like a little tacky. I get it. But it would be pretty dope to see, like, say, for instance, Caleb Surratt gets traded for, like, I don't know.
Henrik Stenson.
Charles Howell or something.
Bring Caleb Surratt over to the Majestics, baby.
Yeah.
Wait, no, it's the wrong one. There you go.
But he gets traded for somebody and then all of a sudden like that makes or breaks a team. Like, that'd be pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, that'd be pretty dope. I'd like that.
Anyway, that is all we have for tonight's episode. It's gonna be a lot of editing because of all the internet issues we had, but that's okay. Anything you want to plug before we head out, Zane?
No, just just hit my website, Zane, especially if you need financial advice and financial planning. Is zanesmith.nm.com for Northwestern Mutual. If not, if you just want to follow my socials, that's at ZS Golf. Still going by the old socials app. So.
Alrighty. Well, and you still need to go buy Beers and Bombs, Odie, if you haven't already.
Gotta wear the Beers and Bombs.
You got Masters Green. You got Black. You got Charcoal. You got White. And you got Sport Gray if you're feeling sporty. And I don't know about you guys, but I always feel a little bit more athletic in Sport Gray. So make sure you go on over to beerlysports.creatorspring.com and pick that up. We also have items for all of our other podcasts and shows that we have on the Beerly Sports Podcast Network. With that being said, we will see you guys next time, and we hope you have a good week.
Peace. I gotta stop saying peace.